Welcome to the Real Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Tierras. Today, I have a special guest. He is a firefighter, entrepreneur, artist, you name it. This guy is a hustler. I want to show you that it doesn't matter what you do. If you have entrepreneurship in your bones, in your veins, it comes out. And my friend, Chris, welcome to the show, brother. Thank you for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to get you on the show just because there's so much that you do, and the first thing is let's talk about like your, being a firefighter, saving people's lives. It's something that I know that you don't talk much about it, even when we're out and stuff. So. I know you have a lot of free time as a firefighter, so tell me how you are able to be a firefighter and an entrepreneur. How does that work for you?
Sure. So first and foremost, I want to get this out of the way just because it's very important, because I do represent an organization that I'm very loyal to, and they've been very good to me, which is the City of Miami Fire Department. And that is that any of the things that I say, my views, anything that I try and present today does not reflect them. These
Right.
are solely my views.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure that is
Sure.
stated and we get that out of the way.
Yeah.
So as a firefighter, I will say that, yes, we do have downtime off duty.
Right.
Which is typically our work schedule is a 24-hour on and then 48 hours off.
Okay.
So if you are a person like us, it's just
Right.
not like me. I know, because we are very like-minded in that aspect.
Yeah.
You do have plenty of time to get after it and do something on the side to hustle.
Right.
Or you could take advantage of the fact that you could work overtime and take advantage of the opportunities, the diverse opportunities that you can do within the fire department.
Right.
I believe largely in the fact that you need balance.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
I do run on a truck that is extremely busy. I went from being on what's known as a heavy rescue, which we only responded to extremely high risk incidents. And at least that's what we're responsible for, which is structure fires, to technical rescue incidents, any type of vehicle victim entrapment with vehicles. That's what we were responsible for. And I recently promoted to fire lieutenant, and now I'm primarily running medical calls, which is a completely different aspect.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. It's definitely a career goal for me, and I'm excited for this new chapter. So that being said, I am exposed to a lot, right? Just like any firefighter. It's not something that pertains just to my department. This industry is something where you experience and see things that the typical person will not come across, right? Where does that play into my life and how I take advantage of my time off is that I feel, once again, that balance plays a big role into your mental health.
Right.
Your appreciation for life,
Mm-hmm.
And truly just taking advantage of your downtime, at the end of the day. So with the downtime, as you stated earlier, a long time ago I got into artwork.
Right.
Okay. And I'll give you a little bit of backstory of my artwork, because it kind of happened by accident.
Really?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
You remember the times of Fast and Furious, the cars and people that would always, spend, absurd amount of money on their vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
just so somebody else could, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of it, and I used to actually, while I was in high school, I apprenticed under an individual that he was very well known for doing these very crazy audio enclosures with fiberglass and TVs coming out from every angle of these cars, with the intent of getting them into magazines and shows and whatnot. So I took interest into that, and I did that with him for a couple years, got out of the industry, and a little later I decided to go surfing. Right, this is something that I picked up probably when I was around 20 years old. Wanted to be a Florida surfer. Right. Learning how to do a lot of fiberglass work with this individual, a lot of my buddies were destroying their surfboards, and they would come up to me and be like, "Hey, I know you know how to work with fiberglass. You know, why don't you fix my surfboard?" So it's not a problem. I can make that happen.
Yeah.
The issue is, it's just like if you were to take your car and you get a dent and you have to repaint the whole car, basically, or at least that whole section. Mm-hmm. If not, you'll see, a repair mark. It's the same thing happens to a surfboard. So I said, you know what, man, I'm repairing the boards, and I have this massive patch. You could obviously tell, what was a repair job. So I said, why don't I start painting on it? And I just, I just started throwing, backgrounds and taping, and everybody knows, if you know me, you know that, I have a very unique style, which I was doing a lot of line work, abstract, geometric, the whole 9 yards. Right. And that's where, it evolved from, which was, I was just trying to cover up repair marks, and, fast forward, like I went from painting surfboards, or rather covering repair jobs on surfboards to, painting on canvases, to painting on, walls in Wynwood. And then it just becomes something where I was being contracted to do custom pieces. You know?
I remember when we first started that, I would tell you we're throwing a club or, out in Silvio's, and I would tell you, hey, look, Art Basel, come over, and you would bring all the artists together and, do a show outside, and it was super cool. I just knew that you did, artwork, but I didn't know the backstory on it, which is, funny how, life, throws you curveballs, and then it's like, this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Like I said, man, it was never my intent to become an artist. It was simply something that I was always, intrigued with, and that one little skill, actually opened up a whole avenue of income for me. And not only just income, but, just, like I said, a balanced life, whereas I go on duty to be a firefighter, and I come across a lot of high risk situations, or some sad situations. Let's face the facts. Somebody calls 911. 9 times out of 10, it's the worst day of their lives. We have to be there to fix the problems. I like to say that my job as a firefighter is a problem fixer. Right. In every sense of the word. So the artwork was definitely the
escape.
The escape from that, right? That ability to just completely disconnect and, appreciate a different skill, right? So yeah, that's basically how that happened.
So tell me how you've actually, or tell me like the buildings. I know you told me that you had some people come up to you, you did some Art Basel events, and you've done some murals or some artwork on some of the buildings. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about the buildings that you've done some artwork on. Yeah,
so obviously in Wynwood, I did several walls there, and those can be from either a collaboration with the person that has it, which in the beginning, something that people don't understand is, they say starving artists, and they say, the hungry artists, and, that really does apply. But it's almost like a rite of passage. Like you have to go through doing a lot of stuff for free. And that's almost like your billboard, right? Like if I go and I paint a building, that might be something, at least in the beginning, that might be something that, might cost me a lot more time. You're painting in the sun, you're displaying your work, but it does take a lot of, man hours, a lot of money. Unless, sometimes these building owners would be, so kind as to provide the paint supplies. But that was basically like your business card. People would drive by, you put your signature,
nice.
And that's something that, it's like a trophy for you. And then what it does is it creates another stream of income, because now people want to hire you or pay you to do another mural.
Right.
So I'll fast forward a little bit, which is, I created a style, and I also was able to get experience in painting a building. It's not easy to, draw on a piece of paper and then show it to somebody and then say, okay, well, now I'm going to put this on a wall, but now what I put on the wall matches what's on the paper.
And it scales, right? That's
so
hard.
Scaling, maintaining proportion, maintaining balance, and there's so much more, like painting on a canvas is different than painting on a surface that might have a ton of dust or grease, or it's exposed to the elements, so I was always a person that would never say no because I liked the challenge. I'd always be like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I can do it. Not a problem. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, deep down, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pull this off. And that's truly something that I feel, and obviously we, in the spirit of being an entrepreneur, and something that I always like to recommend to people is always stay in a position of being uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. Allow yourself to take on challenges that are uncomfortable, because that is going to be something where you sink or swim, right?
Right.
And even if you're not able to deliver at the level that you think or rather you wish you could have, you learn so much in the process. So take on opportunities, obviously, without staying bad with clients. Don't go out. Don't do it in such a way where you're surpassing your actual capabilities, but do it to where you're challenging yourself to really put all of your potential, all of your time, all of the experience that you've acquired over the years, to make a product that you typically wouldn't do, on a normal basis.
Right. Are you now getting people calling you, telling you, hey, I need you to do this for me, a logo, or what are they, how are you typically getting your business now?
So what I just stated, which is always taking on a customer's request and using it as a challenge. The caveat to that is that I focused and honed in on that so much. I've actually created 2 businesses from my artwork. One of them was creating signage, custom signage, right, for different businesses that also became something of functional art, which was tables to wood walls for TVs, things of that nature. And that's basically what completely consumed my life, just doing pieces for people, right? These custom requests.
You did a bunch of those TV walls that were really cool.
Oh man, like and that's what's fun about it, right? Is that I'd look at something like on Pinterest and I'd be like, I could do it better, or I'll let me just inject some creativity that's mine, and now you create your own, right, your signature look, right, right, if you will. So now basically I did that for a while, and now I have actually a mural business where I only paint murals for high-rise developers.
Okay.
There's a few buildings located throughout Miami. One is called the Cascade. One is called Core. These are the new high-rises that are off of 37th Avenue and US 1.
Okay.
There's a few out in off of Biscayne Boulevard, but what I've done, or what the service that I'm really providing now is that I have these high-rise developers that will have a design team and they have a vision and they say, we want this piece on this wall. All the experience that I did for free, all those murals that I did for free in the past, have now become a skill set, and now that's a service that I can provide at a professional level, right? Instead of and this is not me throwing shade at any artist, and I hope nobody takes this the wrong way. But we all have that way of looking at certain artists. You say that they're hippies, and
right,
now these guys are they're always smoking, they're potheads or whatever. Right. That's not at all how I view it. But I do bring a level of professionalism where we come in uniform. Obviously I'm a firefighter. I know how to work off of a ladder pretty well. I'm pretty comfortable doing that. And yeah, so now we actually have a service where I'm taking the vision that a design team for a high-rise developer has, and we'll just make it a reality for them, Really? And we do it in such a way where now, and you were talking to me a little bit before about you do now the video editing and the whole 9 yards with these podcasts.
Yeah.
Over time, I've had to learn how to work with Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, and this was for my artwork, but now I'm able to provide exactly what the artwork will look like on a wall. It's superimposing it on a wall by taking a picture and doing my design work, and then making it real by going to Adobe Illustrator and getting the proportions that I need. So
you're using the tools that that an interior designer or any other designer, would use. Photoshop. I'm sure you use some Photoshop, Illustrator. That's awesome.
It's a multifaceted approach. Like I said, I could sit here and I could draw you on a piece of paper what I want it to look like, or I can show you what it's going to look like.
You take a picture of what you're going to do here. So let's say the building, you take a picture and then you Photoshop it in there and say, This is how it's going to look.
It's going to look exactly like that.
Right.
And then we'll take a picture at that same angle, once it's completed. Say, find the anomalies. I dare you to find the anomalies. That's going to be perfect.
That's awesome. It must be so hard to make that a reality because, you're doing a small scale to then make it the exact scale. It's just, to me, it's so hard. But of course, to you, you're probably, it's like second nature now because you've done it so many times. And I'm sure, you've made some mistakes, but you've made so many mistakes that you've learned from them, so that's...
And again, that goes back to taking on those challenges early in life, don't shy away from them. Run towards them, what I'm saying? Now, I'll never say again, I have to say that never get in over your head.
Right.
Saying be realistic with the capabilities you have and set realistic expectations.
Right.
But if it is a challenge, that doesn't mean that's something that, you should shy away from. You have to, just lean into those and prove to yourself that you're better than what your current state is at all times, right?
Yeah. I'm like you in a way that I like to do things that are out of my norm. Like if they tell me, hey, do a t-shirt, do some crazy design over here with a patch here, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. But then you get into it, you're like, dude, this thing's taking way longer than I thought. It's like super complicated, but you go that extra mile for the person, and and I hope that they appreciate you when that happens. And sometimes people don't see what you're really doing, and so they don't really appreciate it. You're like, dude, I just did something that is impossible, and I made it possible. So I commend you for taking on those challenges.
Oh man, sure. It's fun, and I will say that also. We'll get into some of the other stuff that I do, and you'll understand that my time is accounted for. It's very deliberate because I do have quite a bit on my plate. But another part of the value of just taking a job is also being interested in the job. Like, is this something that's going to be gratifying to me? Is this something that I'm going to be interested in?
Right.
Is this something that I'm going to be proud of when I'm finishing? So sometimes, that can affect the price, naturally. It's like, I really want to do this mural, right? I really want to do this logo for this person. I think it's going to be fun, or whatever, and you could play with the price based on your interest on the project, Some people think that it's always got to be about, just driving the price up, but it's also, sometimes, just getting in the project is good. And then again, that pays dividends down the line. Because if you believe in the project, the project will eventually, edify your business.
Yeah, and I think too when you're doing those, and let's say you gave a guy a huge discount, but you gotta, that is just your marketing right there. Yeah. Like that, the proof is in the pudding. You're like, hey, check this out. I did this building. What? That building? Yes, I did that building. And then they're like, oh, okay, hold on. I'm gonna, I want them. I wanna pay you what you're asking for. So that's awesome. I like the hustle. I love the hustle. Since I've met you, you've always been hustling. Now tell me a little bit about your new venture, because now not only are you you're a firefighter, you're an artist, but now you got into teaching. Talk to me about that, Mr. Entrepreneur.
So I've actually been teaching for the past, I'd say 6-7 years. On the fire department, I love the specialty of what's known as technical rescue, right? Mm-hmm. Like I said, as firefighters, we solve problems. In the world of technical rescue, or in hazmat or in dive, these are specialties. And as a specialty station, I like to say that you solve problems for other firefighters, right? You get there and you have your capabilities or your ability to mitigate a situation goes beyond that of what a typical suppression or medical unit would have.
Right.
So and I give the backstory of that because I taught technical rescue around the country. Shout out to National Rescue Consultants because they've been incredible, and A gentleman named by Herbert Tyler has given me a platform to teach, for a large part of my career. But I was able to teach, as far as Boston.
Wow.
Yeah, Arkansas. Like when I tell you, I've been all over the place. It's been incredible. Teaching rope rescue, right? So let's give you an example of a window washer. Somebody that gets in trouble as they're washing windows and they're suspended very high in the air. We would go out, we would deploy, and we'd get out there, and we would figure out what needs to take place in order for us to get to them. Whether it's descending down the building or coming up from above with a ladder truck, there's a ton of options. But we were highly trained in that.
Cool.
My thing was vehicle extrication. That's what I really gravitated towards, and I feel like I was pretty proficient in. Now, what I do now, and that goes to give the background as to what I got into now, which is I'm doing what's known as an in-service product training. We talked about it a little bit earlier,
yeah.
But for example, you have pharmaceutical reps. Pharmaceutical rep will go out, try and sell a product to whatever clinic that's at hand. And on the back end, if it's something that is somewhat complicated, you would have somebody to come in to do some training, right?
Right.
I essentially now am the training for firefighter service products. In particular, I'm doing what's known as an SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. Mm-hmm. So there's three main competitors. I'm not going to disclose the names, but let's just say competitor A, B, and C. And let's say I teach for competitor A, because that's what I actually use in my fire department. The distributor will go out, will sell the product to a fire department, and this will be a new manufacturer for them. So then they send me on the back end to go and do the training. Mm-hmm. Ever since they started utilizing me, contracting me to do these trainings, they haven't had any callbacks.
Wow. And
they're starting to love that. Now they're hopefully everybody's getting on page, but apparently it's starting to become a standard where instead of having a salesman go and teach a product, why not teach why not have a firefighter go and teach other firefighters, right? Right. We're a very cynical group of people, and we're very exclusive when it comes to people coming into our space. Right. You pretty much got to be accepted for that. You have to get the respect right off the bat, or you don't have it at all. Right. So if I don't believe in you and I don't trust you, whatever you're trying to sell me is never going to get far.
Right.
I obviously know how to speak the firefighter lingo, and I know how to get through these guys. So I feel like I've done somewhat of a decent job doing that so far. But the vision is to create that service that is really not in place right now. You have a ton of firefighter products that are out there, but there's just not enough firefighters are actually making the either the sales or doing the back end training. So that's a little bit of what I do on the side, man. So the mural business and the in-service product training.
Right. No, it's just fascinating how much you're getting done in all the 24 hours in the day that we have. So you're doing a great job there. I don't know how you manage your time, but you're doing it right. What as an entrepreneur, what advice would you give some other entrepreneur that is trying to either become an entrepreneur or somebody that might be in the rut of hey, I'm stuck here, I need to get out of it? What would you say that might help that person out?
That's actually a great question, and I'm going to share something from the almighty Dr. Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent. I actually heard him say something recently that I felt was incredibly enlightening. It was very profound, which is you have to understand your value, and you have to position yourself in a place where your value makes sense. And the example he gave was a water bottle, right? So you go to a gas station, now how much does a water bottle cost? $1, $1.50. Mm-hmm. You go to a restaurant, it might cost $3 or $4. Now you go to the airport, and that bottle just went up to $7, $8. And now you go to Fountain Blue, and that bottle's now $14, $15. Or Ultra Music Festival, who knows, right? But now you have to put yourself in a location where it makes sense. I can't go head first into the deep end of a very saturated market with something that I'm trying to push. Bring something different to the table. and find the location where your value is actually going to match what you're trying to deliver. Is that, I mean,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. You know,
I'm telling you, I'm completely copying that. I'm taking that from him, but
No,
you know, that's total props to him for that,
is,
man.
let me tell you, if you hear him speak about just business itself, and,
He's incredible.
and how he like gets people like to pay him back.
Yeah,
You know, you're like, dude, it's like he's a genius. He's a genius. You know, I just you start. That's why I wanted you on the show, and I like to bring entrepreneurs on here to show people that it is possible for you to become an entrepreneur. It's possible to do anything you want as long as you believe in it and you're bringing value, like you said. You make sure that you know what you're good at. If you bring that out on the table, you're gonna succeed, and and do something that you love. That's why you're so good at what you do. You love helping people out. So that's why you do those murals for free sometimes. You're like, I love what I do. I love to help people out. And and that's, you could see it. You could see it. And that's why I wanted you on the show. Tell people where they could find you if they want to, put a mural, if they want a logo. I mean, whatever you want. Duda is the man. He comes up with some type of design for you that's just spectacular.
So I'll share some of the many accounts that I have, but this is simply because I like to have everything separated, and I'm extremely OCD when it comes to how I market myself. But my main account is DoWorks, which is DUWERKS. That's where you'll see some of my personal creations and the art that I've gotten known for. Other than that, my businesses are Creative Elements Miami. These are all on Instagram. And then also Train Streamline or Streamline Readiness Training. That's also on Instagram. And if you want to see some of my old works, which was the wood walls and the logo signage, so on and so forth, that would be Mama Palo Creations. And
that's awesome. I mean,
a little bit of everything for you.
This guy is a true entrepreneur. And thank you for being on the show, brother.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right. And all the description will be down below. And make sure you follow this guy. All right. Peace.